Okay, cool. There you are. So yeah, I'm really pleased that you could join us. Thank you so much. We've had a pretty cold. If you're not in the UK, we've had a very icy day here today, but been really sunny. I can see you in the sunset still there, Jeffrey. So it's all good. Don, of course, is basking in 22 degrees or something close to that. So we won't mention. Yeah, look, you see, nasty, isn't it, in Spain?
Terrible.
But listen, this is great. I'm pleased you could join us, and I wanted to thank you, for taking the time out. I know you've got a really busy schedule right now, and everybody that's in anything to do with care or you know looking after folk in this difficult time, it's a lot of pressure clearly. But I was hoping to sort of take you back a little while to the earlier days of when you got started with Immunotech, and just for the benefit of everybody listening, to really go into a little bit of depth on that and what made you decide to get involved. So we've got some slides that you very kindly put together, which
Yeah, we'll go to the first slide in a second. What I want to do is preempt that because there's a
yeah,
small story
sure,
behind how I actually got to the beginning of Immunotech.
hmm,
And that involves actually a product that I had watched on the internet, what I heard through some channels of various professionals in America. And they had brought the product out through a direct sales means. And I thought, I'd like to try this product. It was purportedly being very good for us. And I would want to explore its possibilities. And part of my repertoire of what I do a lot of digital thermal imaging breast screening. And that took me to not only my clinic here, but also to Dublin and Belfast. And it was in Belfast that the door rang whilst I was busy working. And this guy opened the door and he had a box of this product. And he said, "Is Rafe there?" And I just went, "Well, yeah, he is. Is this product here?" And he went, "You know about this product?" And I went, "Yeah, come on in." So we had a conversation. This is Paul McGee. So we had a conversation, and needless to say that Paul and I struck up a great friendship at that time and got involved in this product. And the product was great at first, and it had this wonderful buildup of amazing properties. But over a period of time, the business plan behind it, well, it sucked actually, and it didn't generate the amount of income that the product purportedly did, and people, just started not buying it after a while. So Paul went to a different product, and that was that one turning point where in my life there was a tremendous amount of change. I had my partner at that time leave. My dad was dying in Canada, and I given the opportunity to try this product. So they flew me over to Utah to the head office, and that was interesting. And came back and said, "Right, let's go forward with this opportunity with Paul." And then I got a text message saying, "I don't want to have anything to do with this company. I'm going to go forward." And that was it. And then I knew right then that Paul was up to something. And I just went, "Right, what the hell are you talking about?" And he just sent me a couple of snippets, and he said, "Research." I think that's how it worked. And we did a small little talk. And I think I was cooking dinner at the time when I was doing it. And I said, "Okay, I'll go research this." So I researched this company called Immunotech, which I had never heard of. And I went, "This is incredible. Wow. How come I'm supposed to be Canadian part-time, by the way?" And I'm just thinking, I've never heard of this. And I wish I heard about it a long time ago, because I could have introduced it to my friend who died of breast cancer, which is why I got involved with the digital thermal imaging, because I needed to do something to try to empower women that there's something that they could do to create a better physiological entity within their system so that they have an ability to fight this, this nasty, nasty disease. And this product, once I looked at all the stuff that happened, it just ticked all the boxes. And one of the biggest things was for me was it was science-based. Number one, it was science-based. And I went, okay, I could talk about this product to anybody, whether it's a professional and my colleague or another one who may be a surgeon or whatever, to the person on the street. The other thing was the company was very transparent and the business plan looked very, very good and something that I could probably build and get some money from. I'm not going to do something for free, and I don't think anybody else would want to. And then the other one was it was a Canadian company. And I went, that is the first thing that I went, I got you. I get it. It nailed me right to the T because it was a transparent company on the Toronto Stock Exchange, and everything was crystal clear with this company. They were on board, laid the cards out, typical Canadian. This is what we do. Boom. If you don't like it, piss off. And
this is what, 2015, right?
This was January. This was in the January. When I got back from America from this other company, that was November. And then my dad died in December of that year. So it was a transition time for me. And I was looking for something that I could put into my practice that would create this. So if we go on, if you just go to the first slide and just get
there we go.
So that's where it all started for me. And I then got back to Paul and said, I'm in. What do I do? And I signed up. And I think if you go to the next slide, I was probably the third or the fourth person to get involved. I think Don was number one because Don was approached by John. And then I think, Don, you got on to Paul. And then Paul got on to me fairly quickly. And I just went, right, I'm in, let's do it. Because as I said before, all those boxes were ticked. And I just went, you can't knock this. The research was there, the testimonials there. It's a product of science-based, and it's a Canadian company, which is really cool. Very unusual because most of them are American.
So how did you get started with it? I mean, you kind of made.
Well, this is where I'm going to, because the idea being is that when I signed up, within about, I don't know, I can't remember now, but within a week, I had 2 boxes to my door. But I had already done the preliminary order. Now, at that time, it was a different type of system. I believe I ordered something called the beginning pack. I can't remember what it was called. Don, you can probably remember it. Because Don was integral to getting this product over to the UK. And he launched something called the Pioneer Program. And I got people involved in that. And I got involved in that via that way. But little did I know that Don had sent me some product because I'd signed up, because we were on the very, very beginning of this ladder, the first rung to go through this process of building something going through the UK. And that's how I got started. And then what happened after that was I sort of had to go back and for me, do the research more about glutathione right down to the nth degree, because I'm a bit anal when it comes to that. I need to know everything about right down to the quantum level, what this thing is doing. And obviously, the literature at that time didn't have that, but it had a lot of the information that I was looking for that I could start to speak to people. And I believe I spoke to a colleague of mine who does the thermal imaging down in Cornwall. And I was in a pub watching the rugby. Don made a call to this person. And I said, Don, I'm busy. Can you just do this for me? And he did. He spoke to this lady named Terry, and they came on board with what at that point was called the Pioneer Program, which was, I think, 3 boxes of the blue and classic and 2 boxes of the platinum. And they came on board whilst I was at the pub. And that was really great because I was watching the rugby with my other team, my chiropractic team. And it's fantastic. And that's how it actually started me at the very early days. If you go to the next slide, when you start to introduce a business opportunity to different people, it really has to be based on what kind of conviction you have about the product.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at something that is so profound as this, you could be going, this is too good to be true. And I found myself being that at that juncture where I was going, hang on, is this too good to be true or not? This business opportunity, but the product itself. And I kind of just went, all right, well, what am I supposed to do here? Because other people were saying, oh, I got this business and you could do this business too and put that in your clinic.
Yeah.
Just remember me, I'm always looking for something to go into my clinic that will benefit my patients and improve their health. And I sort of waned, but at that time, and I'm still, is coming to a conclusion now, is battling my ex about my house and where my clinic is. And that was at the very beginning where it was very heated and it took a lot of my time. And that's the problem, is that this took away too much time that I had to divert to promoting the product and the business at that time. So yes, there are a lot of people out there who want to have you look at a business opportunity that they're involved in. And you find that you're going to go, sometimes people get persuaded and going, okay, well, that's not the case. Because that happened with that lady who did the Pioneer Pack. And she was down in Cornwall, and what she found, and I think that's all because of her own personal health paradigm and her values, was that she found that the people down there found the product too expensive. And so therefore she was coerced, or not, maybe just, convinced to go into another direct selling company that was very popular at the time. And she left Immunotech. And so that's why I put that slide in there, because when we're in this environment now where I've had 3 people say, hey, I want to do this business. Do you want to come on board? And go, no, I'm satisfied. So we will always have people knocking on our door saying, try this.
Yeah.
And I'm going, well, I've tried everything.
Taking that example for a minute, that lady that decided to go a different route, and she said,
have some water. It's just something else I'm listening to.
You want to listen to?
Sorry, we got somebody's got their mic open, but let's see if we can find out. There we go. Sorry. So yeah, what I was trying to say is that this often happens, and particularly with a price objection. And we were talking about that earlier, weren't we, today, about the National Health Service in the UK pays for everything, and people very often don't invest in their own health. I mean, you being a private practitioner, how do you kind of cope with those price objections and get people to see the benefit, the medium to long term of taking a product that they have to invest in? How do you do that?
In this environment, I've had a lot of people who are still furloughed, but a lot of people are not. And the awareness of how important our immune system is probably more paramount than any time ever, because of the crisis, the pandemic that we're in. So it validates this product far more than we actually maybe put money on it for, because you'll see in another slide it comes up. If you don't have your health, you really do not have vitality of life, because you have to have health as an expression of how you can operate on the inside, and how that we are energy beings, we are light beings. And the national health system, it's actually a sick care system. For me, that's how we identify it, is because you don't go to your GP, you don't go and to explore your health options until something happens. Yes, they are probably the most amazing people for emergency stuff and things that need to be done. However, we need to go back to basics and understand, what can we do? Take back our power as citizens of this country to say, I'm now in charge of my health and not you. And I don't want any elected twat governor guy say, I got to do this, this, and this, because
so it's a process of education, really, what you're saying, isn't it?
It's education and awareness, but the ability to, you know, take the cotton wool out of your ears and actually listen to not only your body, but all the other things that they're saying. And this is the premise of chiropractic. Chiropractic is completely natural. We want to make sure that the body operates on a total harmony with nature, just like that slide there. We are one with nature. If you're feeling depressed, go walk those 2 paths. Just walk one, but at least you're with nature. You're connected to the very earth substance that we became. We are the universe, and the universe is us. Okay. So therefore, we need to connect to that. And this is why this product is so amazing. Because
and how do you bring that into the conversation? And if somebody's coming to you for chiropractic treatment?
Quite easily, actually, because I look at I've got such a very detailed first new patient questionnaire that I can highlight all the inefficiencies quite easily. And
I think this is a good point, isn't it? To go through a questionnaire with people sometimes, you know what their habits are in terms of their diet, if they're drinking. Particularly at the moment with lockdown, people drinking alcohol and maybe not having the best diet, not exercising. It's a great time to kind of introduce the whole subject to people, isn't it?
It is, but the thing with that is everything's good in moderation, one thing. But the other thing is that when I look at how my questionnaire is okay, where's your pain, why are you here, etc., and then tick all these different conditions that you may have and list some ones that I don't have, and then you flip the page, and then you got your lifestyle questions there. And in those lifestyle questions, that tells me volumes. And then there's the other one is, do you have any dental work? Do you have any metal fillings? That type of questions. What stresses you? And a lot of people right at the moment are saying biggest stress is the current environment, the uncertainty of it all. And I can totally get that. So it's really important that, I look at that, and then I look at the person, but I also read the person. And the only person who would understand that would be Miriam. She would understand that. I can sense something in a person right away where the problem is, and what emotional stuff can also be a part of that. So people, when you're telling somebody about a great steak, they don't buy the meat, they buy the taste that is imagined in their mind when you describe how it's being cooked and how you then cut it and put it on your tongue and feel the juices and the taste. People buy that. They don't buy the steak.
The emotion of it, isn't it?
It is. So it's the same thing.
I think it's quite a lot of people beginning to realize, more than ever, that the diet is important. And also you mentioned briefly there, like heavy metals that are in our system, in the water system. People obviously have amalgam in their dental work. And what I've read anyway, that glutathione levels in our bodies is so important that the body's actually optimizing its use of glutathione to eradicate those heavy metals in our system. Have you got any experience with that at all?
Loads. Loads. I do, blood work for heavy metal poisoning, but that's just not going to be predicated on the 3 values of mercury. There are 3 different organic and inorganic values of mercury that need to be explored when you're doing a blood test. But that's just not one. You got cadmium, which comes from smokers,
Right.
Particularly ones with the filter and stuff like that. You got people who work with metals. You got people like hairdressers, hair dyes. You got people who may be putting on underarm deodorant and not knowing that it contains, aluminium.
Aluminium, yeah. In fact, there's something that came up yesterday. They were talking about one of the worst pollutants in the home is air freshener, which I thought was bizarre, and you just don't realize that this product can help eradicate that from our system.
Well, you can also look at, fluoride in toothpaste. You know, don't even go down that subject right at the moment because it's
No.
big. And that's why the warning it says on there, you know, if it, you know, keep out of reach of children.
So let's go and see what happened here. What's this all about?
This is all about, this slide is saying, I made a decision to say, you know what, I'm going to trust my instinct with this company. It felt good. It resonated with me in every level. And I like this quote by Martin Luther King, because he just says basically, if you can't fly, then run. And if you can't run, then you walk. And if you can't walk, then you crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving forward. And that is the thing for life, not just this business and not just yourself. That is for everything that you do.
Yeah.
That is a motivator. And he was a great, phenomenal person. And you're not just the pussycat, you're actually a lion inside.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to bring out the best that you are. And the thing is that we have to go against the tide. We have to hold the very thing that's holding us down and run with the tide. And when we win, we drop that negative stuff that's holding us, just like that woman. That's actually how they do some training in Hawaii. And this is the thing that we need to do. We need to drop that negative aspect inside our conscious and our unconscious in order to move forward. And we're all struggling. I struggle with this. It's still a struggle because we're always doubting ourselves because of the environment that we're always in. And people love putting you down, saying, oh, that, you know, the product is rubbish, or, you know, you're not going to make any money. And all of these things that go and that are attached to a business, it doesn't matter if it's a direct sales, a Munitech, or everything that you do. People are always going to judge you for what you've done and what you do and what you say. And you're going to turn on the light bulbs of some people, and some people you're never going to turn that light bulb on with this product.
So you started out talking to who were the first sort of 2 or 3 people you started with?
One were colleagues, but then I told every patient coming in, I mean, literally every patient I was muscle testing. And the biggest thing that drove me to that, because it was one thing I identified right away, was the ability for it to glutathione to grab onto heavy metals and get them out of the body. That was the first thing, because that was nice and easy, and I could prove it with a muscle test quite easily.
So this is, you know, from somebody who's not got doctor in front of their name and is looking, you know, to get started. What sort of the easier leading in questions or statements you can make about the products, would you say? Because obviously you've had a lot of, you know, 5 years now of doing this. You've kind of, just for people that are not doctors, what would they want to lead in with, would you say?
Well, I think probably the easiest people is the not doctors, because the first thing they want to know about is the research and all the bits and bobs that go behind it. And then you got to start shuffling your feet and giving the research. So when I'm talking to patients, one of the biggest things I just talk about is the basic properties of glutathione and how that our bodies, our physiology is challenged every day because of modern day living. That's why I got these glasses on. They're trying to reduce the blue light toxicity that this creates, which then reacts to some of the receptors in my skin, which then downregulate my immunity, as well as some other things like dopamine levels and serotonin levels. So, and it's interesting because when you look at glutathione from a neurotransmitter point of view, it actually supports that breakdown process back into the tryptophan, which is very interesting. And I found out some other research today that how this product affects and supports epilepsy. And I just found this out like an hour before we got on here. I just shouted down to Miriam, you got to look at this. This is like crazy. I never saw this before. So I'm always constantly like a kid with in a candy shop with research.
You've got to keep digging. And we've got was it PubMed? We've got the physician's desk reference books. People can look this up online, right? As well.
Yeah, there's another gem that I didn't know about until Miriam told me about it. It's called Z Library.
Z Library.
Z Library. You go in there. You can look at books. You can look at you can cite different types of research. Very interesting. And I found that heaps of stuff that link into it. And some of it's really highfalutin. And, Dr. Gutman and I could have a great conversation because that's him there in that picture with me and Charlie Orr, who was the CEO at the time. So these pictures were taken at Montreal head office. So I would go to Canada twice a year to go see my daughter, and I would just take the train up to Montreal. It only takes about 2 hours from Toronto. And I did a tour of the head office twice and loved it. It was great camaraderie. The great thing about the company is that, you know, where we go one, we all go type of thing, just like what's happening in America. And it's really great because we support each other no matter what. Remember when Foster, I was up there and Foster had to drive me to, I think he drove me to the airport. And I had just met him. And I went, oh, thanks, Foster. So there's such a camaraderie between people in this company.
And what have we got here?
Well, this is basically when I started in 2016, this is when I was looking at what the company had at that time in terms of research and the connections they had in the sporting world. And I saw that slide. It's an older slide. And I went, no, that's good because it's showing that this company, and you have reiterated this before, Scott, that it will support the amateur athlete if there is some good evidence to show that they can then commit to the product, etc. So we need to know that for all the people out there that may have a connection to a serious amateur athlete that's going to go pro. And I thought, well, that's really good, because then I put the next slide saying that when we approach these people, remember our thoughts and feelings, they all have an electromagnetic force behind it. So when we go to talk to people about this product, we really have to think about the amazing benefits. There is no downside to this product. There isn't, unless you're a vegan and you really don't want to have a product that's actually coming through God's four-legged friends to come to us, then that's okay. That is and I respect that decision. But when we're talking to people, we really got to think about how we're manifesting our relationship, not only with the product, but the business and our product and our ability to bring that whole essence of the product and opportunity to people with sincere honesty. And we can do that because we've got the science, we've got the testimonials, we've got everything that's there. So when I was beginning my journey, I had gone to the head office, and this is a picture of, I went with a barbecue one year, and one of the pictures where there's the bottom one there was a bit of a new, it basically, we're giving out prizes, and I ended up winning $100 Canadian, which is kind of good.
Okay.
And inside the head office, they had cabinets, and the cabinets on the far right there shows the original packaging of the product in Canada. It was called HMS 90. Which means human milk serum 90. So in other words, the protein in Immunical is very, very similar to breast milk.
Have we lost you?
No, I'm here.
Oh,
Okay. And the one below is a picture that is outside John Molson's office. And it shows how the Americans kicked Dr. Bunos out of America because of the visa laws. And I thought that was quite interesting.
Oh, wow.
Very, very interesting. So,
so now
that was my trip. And here's another picture of another cabinet where the beginnings of this product started, because it really started low key, low tech, really. If you can compare it to other companies that are out there, it was really quite, Cinderella story, as they say, And a friend of mine who is another chiropractor in the UK, his motto is this: the greatest gift in life is health. Without it, all other things have no value. Now, I'm also going to go, I sort of mentioned Immunical to him, so I'm going to go back to him when he's ready to talk, because when I go to talk to my colleagues, a lot of times it's what state of emotion and where they are with their clinic, and are they open to hear another story that may manifest another income for the business, but also enrich the health of their patients.
I think this is true for everybody, though, isn't it? I mean, sometimes it's just sowing the seeds and letting it sit there, and maybe the timing's not right, to keep people that
100%.
you really want to have in your business, that you really want to have on the product. You keep keeping, every 90 days or so, give them a call. Just keep them up to date, because it's very seldom it's the first time, is it? That you
Yeah, particularly when you're dealing with, if you're going to go, talk to your osteopath or chiropractor or your physiotherapist or whoever it is, be prepared to have some sort of data that you can give them, because they'll be looking for some research. Testimonials are wide and loads on YouTube, so we know
there's a lot, isn't there?
There is, and if they speak Spanish, you've even got more bonuses.
Now,
so what happened is in 2016, they announced the trip. Now this month we've got Momentum coming up, and that's going to announce the 2021 trip.
So this was Hawaii, which is what year was that?
This is 2016.
2016.
In 2015, the first year that I started, David and Catherine qualified, and I was this close. And I missed it by a whiskers, and I'm just like, So I said next year when they said Waikiki, I'm going, wow. No questions asked. So I went for it. I said, no, I'm pulling out all the stops. And when I did that commitment I put to myself built a business that brought me to gold.
Right.
Next page.
Now, before you move the next page, this is really interesting, because I posted something the other day that if your circumstances change, not you personally, but if if your circumstances change and your only option was to derive an income out of Immunotech, how hard would you work to support your family and pay the bills, right? And I think this is interesting. When you put these incentives in front of people, they make that commitment to do it and they achieve it. But otherwise, it's kind of laissez-faire, People are kind of, maybe an extra few pounds. But if you really focus, you can really start to build in 90-day sections. And it's proven over and over and over and again, certainly in my career, to try and keep that focus in 90-day spurts. You get 4 of them a year, and that will always get you to the right level. And people feel it too. If you have that energy about you, I think, don't you agree?
Well, yes, I believe, but you also have to be in harmony with the product and the company.
Of course. Yeah.
In order to do that, because I've been involved in loads of direct sales companies, and it was basically for the product. The business, was there.
No, I mean, I'm talking about what we have here. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
This is Waikiki, is it?
Yeah. So basically, David and I were on stage in Belfast, and we had some Hawaiian leis put around us saying that we qualified for the trip. And what I found was great was
that everything was walking around Belfast with those on, I bet.
Yeah, right. We would have got arrested. But no, all the way from the packaging that you received, which is the top there, to when we got there, we were treated as if we were royalty. It was unbelievable, fantastic. We were the only people representing the United Kingdom. And, we had a fantastic time. We really did. We hung out and we had a laugh. And the picture that you've got on the upper right there is Diamond Head. That's from the Sheraton where we stayed at the bar. And then you just turn the opposite way, and that's how the sunset looked. That's from amazing, the bar. Isn't it? And John Molson would hold some physical exercises down on the beach every day, just a little bit further down where the hotel is by the bar. You just keep going down a little bit more, maybe 100 yards, and you were there. We did all these exercises on the beach. A lot of laughs, a lot of fun. We had so much fun. And it was great because David Marshall at the time was the international manager, and he would just entertain us when the company wasn't entertaining us. And what I thought was great was that we got there, we registered, and they handed us 225 American dollars and said, "Oh, here you go play."
Is that right?
Yeah. And so it was a fantastic experience. And David, you know, he's been on quite a few now, so he's the expert on all this stuff because I got diverted by other things with my ex here with my house and that, so I didn't get to that level again. And
do you
it
meet
would be
people?
insane.
Did you meet others out there that gave you some inspiration as well?
Fantastic, yeah. I met loads of Canadians because you know I was born in Canada,
Yeah.
but it was really fantastic because they gave me stories about how they used the product with animals. And it was extensive. We'd be sitting around the pool and they'd be telling me all these stories about horses and dogs and cats and that. And they even wrote me in to do some adjustments in the gym for chiropractic. You know,
Right.
just can't get away from it.
No.
And it was a lot of fun.
No.
And we met a lot of people. So in the beginning, when I started, all I knew was the story about Dr. Bunos and Patricia, and I met Patricia and her husband at the barbecue, and they are the ones that brought us this product. And then when Dr. Gutman came on board, he sort of gave it that medical voice, if you will.
Yeah.
And you know, we've had several discussions, not only in Canada but on the phone, but also in Belfast when he came over and did it. He was part of a talk when we had him in Belfast a little while ago.
Yeah. So we just for the people that are not familiar with everybody. So we've got Dr. Brunas at the top left-hand corner, right?
Yep.
And then we've got Dr. Patricia Conshaven. So she's English but lives in Canada, right?
That is correct. Yeah,
and
I believe
she's the surviving one of the two that are there. I mean, he's passed
Yep.
away now, but she's still with us. And then Dr. Jimmy Gutman, of course, is very much alive and well and working with us still. So
yeah, and so I got this book. I don't know if you can see it. It's probably not right there. It's the breakthrough. It's almost like crazy stuff. Breakthrough in cell defense. I got this book, and it's all about this story about how this whole product and adventure happened. And it was interesting because it was only later on when that guy down there called the secret ingredient called Mr. John Molson. Mm-hmm. Now I Googled images of Mr. John Molson and I got the first guy and I went, no, that's not him. And it's definitely not the second one.
It's funny when you do that.
I got to show this to John. You'll probably find this hilarious. John, when I went to head office, he gave me a whole bunch of information about the data and the scientific studies that are going on with this product. And it's extensive. It's fantastic. He is a wealth of knowledge of how this scientifically, right from the very beginning, happened.
You know, we made a video which he speaks on, right? Him and Dr. Gutman speak together. It's called The 100-Year Secret.
What a great video. Yeah.
.net, which you can get online. So you actually write, it's the number 100, the 100-Year Secret .net is what you have to find. So there's a chance to listen to that whenever you get a moment. That's worth doing. So what have we got here?
Well, basically, you asked about my journey with this product. Well, I wasn't there for the beginning one where it was, you know, HMS 90, which is human milk serum 90. I came on board when we had the glutathione, but not in the fancy boxes that have all the information on. We had very plain boxes. So at the beginning, Don created something called the Pioneer Program. And we ran with it. And at that time, pretty much there was a handful of us. I got a picture of, should put that up there. I got a picture of 6 of us around the table in Belfast when we first got together, just 2015. Now there's only 3 of us, and that's Don, myself, and David.
Mm-hmm. We're all here tonight, so it's great.
We are, and it's
all on the call.
It's a lesson about attrition, about how people get on board with enthusiasm and then drop out. And then is it because we know another guy had a business opportunity somewhere else that he ran with that and left? And the other ones I don't know. And sometimes we just don't know what.
Yeah, I think it happens, but usually if you stick together like you guys have done, you know, you stay in touch, you work together. That usually is what it's about, the bonding of it all, isn't it? If people are left on their own devices, they sometimes wander away, I think.
Well, if you want to open up a franchise with McDonald's or some sort of crazy really rubbish fast food stuff. You got to put in a lot of money. So your incentive is to get up every day and build that as a business. But it's a brand. Those things are brands. And so what we're doing here is we're in the beginnings of building a brand. Just like people probably know things about Herbalife or Avon or all these other huge direct sales company. We're in the very early stages of building a brand. At the very beginning, we had Charlie Orr when I came on board, and that's the upper picture there on the left-hand side.
Charlie's on the top right, yeah?
He isn't top, well, yeah, top left for me that way. But he's with this new amazing man, Mauricio, or Mauricio, I think it is.
Mauricio. So Mauricio's, what he's achieved in the last 3 years is basically taken the company from around about $90 million a year turnover to currently over 180 million in 3 years. And the structure that he's brought in. Tell us a little bit about your experience with him, Jeffrey.
Well, it was funny because when the company was being sold in that transition time, there was a lot of non-communication from head office. And we were kind of going, well, what's happening? What's happening? And then we found out about how things had turned over, and then that Maurizio was taking over the business and that, and he had brought in certain people and they just didn't work out. And now he's got a good handful of people like yourself, Scott, who really know the business and know what's going on. So we know that the company is growing and they are committed now to the United Kingdom and the Republic of Ireland and Spain and soon to be Portugal and rolling out to the EU. We know that they are committed, and this is the man who's got that vision, whereas the old crowd had limited vision. And I think that as I said here, the future is ours only if you want to be part of it, because we are part of a wave that's going to turn into a tsunami. And if we are really serious about changing people's lives, both by health and wealth, then get involved in this product, get involved in this company, get involved in the business, tell everybody who has an ear who's not been blocked, and tell them about the whole picture, because this is coming at you. As I said in America, nothing can stop what is coming.
A wave turning into a tsunami. Oh, sorry. A wave turning into a tsunami. We love that.
That's what's going to happen with this product, because it's a natural progression. As the business grows, people in it grow. And with that comes, we're going to make millionaires of some people. And that's certainly one of my goals. And I know David is up there and probably Don as well. But it's not so much the money. It's also being able to put a smile and a dream back into somebody's pocket.
Yeah.
Because when I came to this country, I had 800 pounds, a dream, and 2 suitcases. That's it.
And you know what's also happened since you started? So 2015, we're now, so 6 years down the road now. That's a long time in terms of what's happened in the industry, and particularly with this company and the change of the management and Mauricio getting involved. So what we're now doing is investing very heavily in the technology. And one thing I've been saying to people is, with John, Dom will know this as well, but we used to have to say, you work locally but think globally. Well, now actually that's much easier, because we can make connections with people that are expats from Portugal, from France, from Germany, from Italy, that are living in the UK. And you can meet them online in Facebook groups and find them online in LinkedIn, etc. And start to build those relationships, 6 months ahead of us moving into those markets. And one of the other things that we're in the process of doing is the next couple of weeks is bringing in a new website, which is a lot more social media friendly, and will enable you to be able to have a better profile, country specific, rather than the way it is right now. We're improving the back office too. So there's a lot of money been invested in that, and we're going to be rolling it out during the events that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. So I'd really encourage you, and I think you've got obviously the stories you've just told us, Jeffrey, about the events going into Hawaii, and we're going to be announcing the next one at the convention, which is on the 19th and 20th of February. So if you haven't yet got your tickets, I really encourage you to get on there, and it's so much cheaper than it would be to fly out there this year. You've only got to sit there and actually watch it from home. You can put it on the big screen at home and participate. It'll be very different to this. It's not going to be like a Zoom call. It's actually more like a live event that you know, if you go to the cinema, sometimes they show the ballet or they show a play or something. It's going to be that kind of thing. It's a bigger stage. So,
you know, I want to just ask, I just want to say one thing. When you mentioned about groups and stuff like that, the other thing that you can do to market the product and the business is if you go onto Facebook and you start punching up groups. So in my local area, I'm going to be looking at the asthma support group. You could do the same thing with traumatic brain injury, which we've got data on, sports people. You could take the data that's out there and then say to people, well, we have a product that your people would be wanting to hear because they may benefit from that. And those things sometimes travel further because, as you said, it's a global business, but you think local. Because you may touch somebody here in the UK, but they have somebody down in Spain that may be asthmatic or have a traumatic brain injury when they were younger and they don't want to get Alzheimer's, which we know it prevents the Lewy bodies from forming when it comes from that because of Dr. Daniel. So brilliant. So we got all the stuff there. So that's another way of being able to access a market that's at our fingertips on the computer by utilizing not only the science, but also the groups, the support groups that are out there, that they may be able to want to hear this message.
Exactly. Would you be prepared to take some questions if anybody has them, Jeffrey?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, folks, if any of you'd like to ask Dr. Jeffrey any questions, now's your chance to unmute yourself and fire away, because there's a lot of information that's come across there tonight. So I think it's a great opportunity to do that.
I have a question. It's Aveline.
Hi, Aveline.
Hi. Dr. Jeffrey, could you just, I'm in contact with a chiropractor right now. We've made contact and I'm just not quite sure how to start the conversation. Could you give me some guidance? I have no medical background like you do.
Yeah, I know. And then sometimes that's the advantage, Aveline. Believe it or not, it sometimes becomes more difficult for me than, say, a patient or a person who is just wanting to present this. Think about how Dr. Jimmy got involved. It was a patient that got him involved by switching him on to glutathione. So the biggest thing that I think that people would probably really switch on with is how can you help your patients, but also help your business on a really easy way of having another income stream going into the business. And chiropractors are probably more approachable than some other medical people because we think outside the box, most of us.
Okay, thank you.
Go with glutathione. Go and say, hey, how would you like to support your patients with COVID? Oh, by the way, there's a new article that I've just found. It was published, and it was the support. We could probably put it in the notes later on if you want, if you've got the notes, Scott, of how glutathione levels are extremely important in the support of your immune system via the coronavirus pandemic. Sorry.
Exactly. And Aveline, do you have a personal story about the product yourself?
Well, yes, I do.
Okay, so I would start with that as well. I mean, when you're approaching your any practitioner, say, like, I just wanted to bring this to your attention because it's been amazing for me, and explain to them your story, and maybe if you've got any other person that you've introduced it to yourself, so you've got a couple of stories that you share, and maybe just take a couple of samples. A along and show them. I would take the box, you know, show them how it all comes. That's what I think is important.
Can I say with that is that I would, if you want Aveline, if they want to contact me, I would be more than helpful in.
Wow, now there's a bonus,
Wow.
Aveline. You've got the doc on side. You've got the
Thank
doc
you,
on
Dr.
board.
Jeffrey.
You could, yeah, absolutely. You got me contacted on Messenger, so just let me know.
Fantastic.
Sure. Thank
That's
you
really
so
good.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
excellent.
Hey, can I jump in, Scott? Just
Go ahead, Don.
That's really interesting because from a non-medical, non-health professional viewpoint, to hear Dr. Jeffrey, your response, Jeffrey, to that question from Aveline, it's a two-way approach to that individual. It's here's what the product has done for me, here's what it can do for others, and here's what it can do for your practice in terms of assessment. That's to me really important there.
Well, I can also say how it's helped my patients as well, and how they get involved with the company or they don't. They just want to buy the product and get enriched by what it does. So yeah, sometimes that's actually better because it takes the heaviness of the approach aspect by Aveline, and I will just sit there and say, hey, this is what I do.
You know what might be nice if you get in the mood, Jeffrey, and you have time, is to just shoot a little video about your experience with the product in your practice and why you've taken it on. Just 2 minutes, and then that's a link that we could share in the groups. You know.
Yeah, we talked about this, and I was thinking about what could do. I could do that.
It's not difficult. You can practice quite a lot. You don't have to use up any tape anymore. It's all electronic.
I know. Much easier, isn't it?
It is.
Much easier.
Hey, Scott, do you realize there are people on this call who do not understand what you said?
No, well, that's true, but we'll get there. We'll get there. It takes time. In fact, I'm doing a book right now. The book is more like a guidebook. It's only very small, about 25 pages, but it will be available within the next few weeks for you on how to approach Facebook groups, how to connect with them, exactly what to do, step by step, and it's really a great tool. I want people to really start to understand how to use Facebook, particularly as a business tool, because a lot of people are using it their profile and not the business page, and there's a difference. So that's going to come out, and I'm going to be announcing it, showing it to you. You can have copies of that as soon as it's published. It won't be long. Any more questions for the doctor tonight, please? No? Okay. Well, Jeffrey, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you coming on tonight. And Don and David, you're the top three guys that brought this all together. It's really cool to have you all on the call tonight. That's quite unusual. The experience that journey together over the last 6 years. It's really, and to see you out there in Hawaii and having that fun, and the company dishing out cash as well. It's very exciting, isn't it? So
yeah, we had lots of laughs with that.
So David, you got any last comments from that trip?
Yeah, the trip was just incredible, like all the others as well. It's very, very hard to put into words or even video and photographs. I think the trips, it's one of those things you just have to experience. I think Jeffrey would have to agree that, you can look at the photograph and look at the sunset, it looks great, but when you're sitting there and the people that are around you as well, it's I remember when David Marshall was with us, I used to say David Marshall must have the best job in the world, because for 20 odd years he was with the company, and he was just every single day surrounded by really, really lovely, motivated, inspirational people.
Yeah.
That's all he knew. He didn't know anyone else. He never met. He never come across a grumpy person or a pessimistic person. He just thought everybody was like that, because he was so used to working and working with these people.
Yeah.
Well, you see, this is what keeps us coming back. It's what's kept me in the industry, because you meet so many great people that are positive and sometimes have got, you know, pretty bad stories behind, but that something's driven them to make the big change in their life. And when you go to these conventions and you, like you guys, have stuck together, and you know, one of the most negative countries in the world to get anybody to do anything in the UK, and you stuck together for all those years and are still there, enthusiastic about the opportunity, the company, the product. It's really, really encouraging. And you know, if you're looking at this for the first time or you're new to the business, and these guys are veterans, right? I mean, they've really been through the hard knocks and are still smiling and still there, present all the time. So you are.
Can I add one more to what you said, Scott?
Excuse me.
Can I add one more to what you said?
Please.
Yeah, you said sticking together because of the company, the opportunity, and the product, and it's also the people.
I was going to say that it's the people.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's what binds it all together.
It's the
People,
camaraderie,
a shared vision, a shared you know, hope to do something for other people, and you know, like Anya, you were saying earlier on, sometimes people don't buy our story. They don't take it. They don't accept it. They don't understand it. What's important is that we continue to work together and to share that and to share it as a team. And it's wonderful, Scott, as you know, in this industry, despite, but as well as the lines of sponsorship, irrespective of that, we work as a team to assist each other. And that's wonderful. That's that positive influence that transcends personal interest. Okay, the best of all. Anyway, I wanted to throw that in there. It's the people as well as the company, the product, and the opportunity. It's the people. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So look, the next one of these we've got coming up is going to be next Wednesday evening, and I've been able to persuade another Canadian to come on board. So we've got Doug McNabb going to be on the call next week.
Very good.
At 7:30, and I'm hoping to do a series of these now. It's been fun, you know, to listen to the stories as well as the technical part of the business and the compensation plan and all that stuff. But, you know, to get to hear from the people that are involved with this and to get everybody together and see that it's a real thing. It's not just, you know, an opportunity out there on the internet. It's something real. So, Jeffrey, thank you once again. I appreciate you coming on tonight. I have recorded it. And if anybody'd like to have a copy, please just email it over to me. My email address, if you haven't got it, is slucy@immunitech.com. And Jeffrey, you're happy to let people connect with you afterwards if they have some questions, you said, yeah?
Yeah, they can either find me on Facebook or I know Aveline, we're on WhatsApp or whatever. You can find me. I'm out there. You know,
You're out there.
If I had some other people help me, and so the only thing I can really say is I will help you because, as Don said, you know, it's about the people. So you know, I help you because I feel good about doing that as a human being. That I know that I can just give my expertise or my love or whatever to help you because I feel better for it. It's like giving to charity. It's the same thing. We feel good when we help each other because in regards to what race we are and what creed, we need each other as we're pack animals as human beings, and we need each other, particularly at this particular time. We need to be together with so many different things. And the common thing we have here is a very viable, wonderful, honest company with a very viable, honest, and scientific product, and a very good leader at the top who's taking this to the top. And we're all behind him. And as I said, we are on a wave. It's going to turn into a tsunami. Let's build the wave.
Well, that said, I think that's a great way to finish the call. And thank you so much again. Thanks, Don. Thanks, David, Anya. And we'll hopefully see you next week, 7:30. I'm around, of course, if you want to get in touch. And we'll catch up then. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, guys.